Hello, how is everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming back tonight. Last night we had a few technical difficulties. Restream wasn't acting right, so we are pushing everything a day. So tonight we're going to do day 24, and then tomorrow night we will move into day 25. So we will be here Saturday night, tomorrow night to finish up this week. So we'll make sure that we make that time up. But anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Alicia Johnson, and welcome to my channel. This is the Alicia Johnson YouTube channel, and it is here where we work on all things recalibration, 12 hours for God and 12 hours for man. And one of the tools that we use in this process is the journal. And so we are journaling this month or these 30 days for forgiveness. And we are already, I can't believe it, we're already at day 24. Well, we should be at day 25, but because of the technical difficulties last night, we are at day 24. Yes, tomorrow night we will do day 25, and it will be at 8 p.m. as well. So tomorrow night we will be on at 8 p.m. Tonight, we are discussing forgiving your enemies. And so, the assignment reread your dedication so that you will remain pinpoint accurate in your journaling focus. Make a list of all the things in your life that are coming against you to seemingly make you fail. These enemies are not always people. Do you sleep too much, eat too much, argue too much, or cuss too much? Why? Understanding that the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy will help you to understand why certain areas of your life may be harder to correct than others. Benefit: knowing why certain areas seem to have a stronger hold on you than others will help you to unearth the clues to uncover where your true treasures reside. Forgiving your enemies. Day 24. Now, this assignment is actually a very good one so that you can begin to make peace with all of those things that are keeping you from moving ahead. And what I mean by things, your enemies are not necessarily other people. And this was something that I had to learn because for the longest time, every shortcoming that I had, I wanted to blame it on somebody else. I wanted to blame it on, I didn't learn this in school. The school system didn't teach me this. My mom didn't teach me this. My daddy didn't teach me this. This is their fault. My husband didn't do this. My kids didn't do it. Was an ongoing blame game. And everyone that I felt didn't live up to the standard that I had, they were my enemy. And when God began to deal with me on this, and prayerfully, this will help, some of you out here that are trying to identify your enemy. This was very humbling, and this will probably be very humbling for you as well. I was personally my biggest enemy. I was the biggest enemy that I had in my life. And the way that God began to show me this and the way that God began to reveal this to me, it was so simple but just so profound all at the same time. So let's take any scenario, okay? So when we were younger, my sister and I, let's say we were in our teens and 20s, and we would go out, and this was back before cell phones, right? Back before cell phones, you go to the skating rink or you be hanging out or whatever, and the way that you exchange numbers, like you wrote it down, you wrote the number down. And so if you like somebody or somebody liked you, you would exchange numbers and then you would call each other. And so after, over the course of time, if you realize that you didn't like that person or that person wasn't who you thought that person was, or whatever, then you would get upset like every time the phone would ring, like, oh, why is this person still calling me? Why is this happening? Why is this? You gave them the number. Like, you literally wrote the number down. Like, they would not have the number if you did not give the number, because we had like an unlisted number. So it's not like they could have found it. We had to literally give it to them. When God began to reveal to me all of the areas of my life that I was like upset about, God had to show me, and I'm here to, I'm just a messenger. I'm just a messenger. But I was personally the common denominator in all of my dysfunction. I was the common denominator. I was the common denominator in my finances. I was the common denominator in my relationships. I was every dysfunctional area of my life. I was there. I was present. And God had to really humble me and break me down and really convince me that I was not being a good friend to myself. I was not being a great friend to myself. I was doing more damage to me than anybody else ever could. You are the one, you are the first line of defense in all of the scenarios of your life. Everything that you have, give me any scenario. What do you have in your life that is causing you some distress? You can put it in the chat. Anything. Anything that you have in your life that is causing you distress. When God began to deal with me on this, I was always complaining about finances, bills. I was getting ready to say bills. Always complaining about bills, always complaining about the stuff that I had to pay. And when God began to deal with me on that, God was like, be realistic with yourself. These bills would not exist without your approval. At some point in the process, at the very beginning of the process, you were kind of excited, or there was a reason for you wanting to make this bill. If I get this card, then I can make sure that I get everywhere on time. I don't have to worry about breakdowns. I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to worry about that. At the time you were signing those documents, at the time you were agreeing, you were excited. The fact that your excitement has waned does not reduce your obligation. God was like, in order for you to release yourself of the enemies that you have invited in, you've got to make peace with them, with everything that is frustrating you. So when I literally had to start making peace with my bills, literally had to start making peace with my bills. And a lot of the things that I realized, a lot of the bills that I made, a lot of the debt that I took on because I was not in a good space. I wasn't doing things spiritually, mentally, and physically. I was doing things physically, mentally, spiritually, or mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I was out of alignment. So, in order to make peace with the bills, I had to thank the bills. I had to literally thank the bills for serving me, in the sense that the bills awakened within me a new awareness of how I emotionally spent money. The bills were not my enemy. The bills came in to do what they were supposed to do. Once you start to make peace, whatever that looks like, the heaviness is going to start to lift because you are no longer working against that thing. You are now working harmoniously with it. When you make peace with the bills, so for me, for example, one of the bills, like the mortgage payment, okay, you're paying a mortgage. And at one point, I was really like frustrated. Like, why do we even, we're not even home. Like, we would only come home to sleep. We would come home to sleep and change clothes and we were out again. Like, we spent very little, like our furniture spent more time in the house than we did. And that was one of the, like, do we even need this more? Do we even need this? Do we, like, we can get an apartment, we can do something else, we can, whatever. It was just a whole bunch of different thoughts. But I had to start to make peace with the fact that, for example, now that we are working from home and the mortgage payment doesn't seem as daunting now because I'm using the house all the time. Like, this is a good investment at this point. It makes sense. A lot of times we are resistant of our decisions because they just don't make sense. So as you're beginning to forgive your enemies, start with yourself. Because God was showing me that in most of the scenarios that I allowed myself to get in, I was getting into those scenarios because I was not a good friend to myself. I was not counting the cost. I was not looking at it from a higher perspective. So now when I enter into scenarios, I enter into those scenarios from the perspective of me being a good friend to myself. So I'm constantly asking myself, do I even want to engage in this conversation? Like, is this a good conversation for me? Like, I have like this outside conversation with myself. Me as your good friend, okay? I'm talking to me, myself. Me, now that I'm learning to be a good friend to myself, do you even want to set yourself up for this? No, I don't. Because I know how I am. And after about, 5 conversations, I'm going to be done. So let's just not even entertain this right now. Let's just cut it off. That's a good friend. A good friend is not going to allow you to do something that could potentially be damaging to you. When you start to become a better friend to yourself, you're going to make the decisions that are going to move you ahead, that are going to stretch you, that are going to engage you, that are going to prosper you. By being a good friend to yourself, it doesn't mean that you just keep yourself in a bubble and you keep yourself safe. It means that you are looking at things from the perspective of where you want to go. When you are being an enemy to yourself, when you are allowing the enemy in, then the decisions that you make are either going to kill the vision, steal the vision, or destroy aspects of the vision. And this is a great litmus test. Like, heaven has encoded in the process everything that we need. You can use that with every single scenario that you enter into. The next purchase that you get ready to make, I don't care if it's a lollipop, is this purchase going to kill any aspect of my dream, destroy anything I have built up? Or is it going to kill something that I have been trying to keep alive? So that lollipop, is it going to destroy the idea that you have about good health? Let's say that you are trying to do no sugar, okay? And you're trying to do this and you've been doing it for like 20 days and you want to do it for 30 days. This one little decision at day 20 or 21 is going to destroy all of the effort that you put in so far. It's going to kill the confidence that you have in yourself. And it's going to steal and rob all of the time that you put in. Like that time that you put in, swoop, now I got to start all over again. Is it worth it? You decide. But when the consequences start to develop, you have no one to be angry with other than yourself. You can't be angry. Oh, that sugar is the enemy. Oh, that candy manufacturer is the enemy. Oh, that store that sold this candy, that's my enemy. No, they're not. They're there and doing what they are supposed to do. The fact that you couldn't restrain yourself is the problem. Every scenario, it doesn't matter what the scenario is. It can be at work. I do this at work all the time. I lost the other day. Y'all, I told y'all that story, but it destroyed it stole a little bit of my joy. It really did. So I was like, okay, I got you. But there was an email. It was an email that crossed my desk and God said, answer it. I had a decision to make. And I had to really realize that that decision was either going to kill, steal, or destroy something. And it did. And for one split second, I wanted to get, I got a little hot with that little girl. I was like, how she gonna send I was mad. And I was getting ready to, just like that, make her my enemy. God was like, she is not your enemy. She was doing exactly what she has been doing the whole time. Like, everybody knows this is her MO. Everybody knows this is what she does. So why was I so surprised when she did it? Why? And heaven is so loving that when you are getting ready to make a mistake and heaven knows it's a mistake, heaven will always give you a way of escape. And my way of escape was heaven saying early that morning, go ahead and answer this email. I'll do it later. Man, I don't feel like dealing with her right now. That was my way of escape. But because I chose not to take the way of escape, the train was coming. So when the train hit, I couldn't be upset because God gave me an exit. How many exits have you failed to take when heaven gives you a way of escape? When you fail to take the exit, you are the enemy. You are the enemy. Your weight, I think somebody had put weight on here. You are in control. Like, our bodies change, everything changes. We have a responsibility. Like, I made a decision tonight. Like, I know, like, like you go in, like when you turn 50, you going for your 50,000-mile checkup and all of that. And then they send back all of this. You need to watch this. You need to watch that. You need to watch this. I know. Okay. Tonight, a decision was made. I made a decision. I was sitting on the couch just before this call. I was like, "Well, Mike, I ate good most of the week. I did. I did this. I did." He said, "Who you trying to convince?" I was like, "Nobody." I was like, I like pork fried rice. I like pork fried rice. It's from this restaurant that I go to. I like it. I like it. I made a decision. Now, this decision it's either gonna steal, kill, or destroy something. It's gonna do something because I know that I'm being my enemy right now, but you have to do it with your eyes wide open. I hope it ain't gonna steal that much. I hope it's not gonna kill that much. I hope it's not gonna destroy that much. But I can't be mad at anything or anybody if I wake up tomorrow with heartburn. If I'm up, if I'm not feeling well tomorrow, who am I gonna be mad with? The restaurant? I'm probably have a pork headache. I probably am have Am I gonna be mad with Mike? That's why I'm always messing with him. Like when I do something I'm not supposed to do and it don't turn out good. I'm like, you don't love me. You don't love me because if you love me, you wouldn't have let me do that. Making everybody my enemy but me. We're human. So I'm not saying that every decision that you make is going to be like a stellar decision. But just be so honest with yourself that your recovery time is so quick that you don't waste time trying to pinpoint who did it to you. You just say, you know what, that was me. Okay, let's move on. Because when your response time is quicker, you can move through things faster. So tonight is the night when you sit down and you start focusing on forgiving your enemies. It's really nobody out there. Because the only way that people out there can get in here is if you let them in. Nothing. When God began to show me this, it was so powerful. Imagine, close your eyes with me. Imagine your entire street. We're just going to do your street, the street that you live on. You don't even have to do both sides of the street. Just do your street. Just do your house and the houses, the two houses, one on each side of you, okay? In those three houses alone, nothing in those houses, nothing in the driveway outside of what heaven does as it relates to nature, nothing moves without human interaction. The car in the driveway won't move unless there's an earthquake or something, but I'm just talking about just the basic things that we are attached to. And this was funny to me when God began to show me this. It was like, oh my gosh, how crazy have I been? Like, let's say in your house, right? You're in your house and you clean your house up real good. And then maybe 4 or 5 days later, it's like, how did this get so mad? What happened? Like you're so clueless as to how the house got messed up. Who put these dishes in the sink? Where these dishes come from? And it's funny, like when the kids aren't here, it's just me and Mike. So we looking like where this mess come from? Like where this come from? Like you always want to blame it on some outside force. And it's you. It's me. It's us. Every decision that you make from this day on, ask yourself, am I being a good friend to myself? Is this decision bringing me life? Or is it killing something, stealing something, or destroying something? That divine pause is what so many people rob themselves of. And when I learned this, it became like a game to me. I am under no obligation to answer you quickly. I have a right to sit and to think about it. If you have come to me with a question, you have obviously taken some time to formulate the question, to get the question together, to word the question in a certain way. So you might have taken 2, 3, 4, 5 days before you come to me. And then you're going to ask me the question and expect me to answer just like that when you had 5 days to do it. Give me equal time. That's why I'm constantly telling people like, well, what do you think about it? Let me sit with it. Let me sit with it. Let me get myself together. Let me think about it. Let me be with it. When you allow yourself that opportunity to be still and know, God tells us that. God says, be still and know that I am God. Like, be still and know. Like, I have to be still long enough to know that whatever scenario has crossed my path has been sent to me by God. Be still and know that I am God in this scenario. Be still and know that I am the God who has sent this scenario. Be still and know. You can't know until you have sat with it. You can't know until you have removed yourself from the unknowing. You can't know until you consecrate yourself and put yourself in a place that is separate from the decision or separate from the consequences. You got to step away. When I started to give myself that power, like take back that power, that is another secret to redeeming the time. When you take the time in the beginning to be still and know, then you have the wherewithal, you have the discernment, you have the confidence to know that all of the time that you need for this scenario is already encoded in the process. So you're not going to waste any time. When you do not take the time to be still and know, it's a crapshoot. If you do not know, then you're going to continue to go through the process constantly wondering, is this me? Is this God? Is this the world? Did God really tell me to do this? I'm not even sure at this point. See, when you are still enough to know that I am God, that I am has sent this thing, you can move ahead full throttle without the brakes. Like, you can just go ahead. Like, the only thing that stops me at this point is God. Because once I sit with the thing long enough and I know that God has instructed me, I know that God has given me the thumbs up, I don't have to worry about the obstacles. I don't have to keep my head on a swivel because I was still long enough to know that God and heaven is going before me and heaven is clearing the path. So if I get stopped along the way, I know that heaven is before me and heaven has stopped me for a reason, because there's traffic, or there's someone that needs to come and join me, or there's something I need to do and pause right here. But when we are riding through life with the brakes on, we never gonna get to where we're going. So tonight is the night that all of the enemies that you thought existed, they reveal themselves. And all of the enemies, 9 times out of 10, are probably going to look a lot like you. Now, there are some legitimate enemies out here, but see, those enemies reveal themselves only, and I say only, and I repeat only. And if I had the captions here, it would be capital O, capital N, capital L, capital Y. Only present themselves when you become a formidable opponent. A sink full of dirty dishes is not spiritual warfare. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The enemy, the spirit realm, does not have unlimited resources. So the spirit realm is not going to waste resources on opponents that are not formidable. By formidable, meaning that they are an equal match to what the enemy has to present. Like when the disciples are trying to go out and heal people, they were like, and the little imps and the demons, they were like, who are these yahoos? Like they laughing at them. Like y'all are not formidable. Y'all are not. Now, Paul, we know. We don't know what's your name. Who are you? Does the spirit realm even know your name? Have you even done anything to be put on the spirit realm's radar? When you have been placed in the crosshairs, you know. Because it's unlike anything you have ever experienced before, because the enemy will attack you spiritually, mentally, and physically. See, the enemy, when the enemy has locked its target on you, it's not like the enemy is just going to hit you in one realm. The enemy is going to attack wherever you are the weakest. And that could vary from day to day, any time of the day. So let's hit her here because she's weak right here spiritually. Oh, let's hit her here right now because she's weak right here mentally. Oh, let's do a 1-2 punch right here because she's weak right here spiritually and physically. And the enemy's attack. See, this is the thing that you have to understand about a spiritual attack. The enemy does not have unlimited resources. So that attack is only going to last for a definite amount of time. It's not going to go on for 20, 30, 40 years. That's not going to happen because the enemy just does not have those types of resources. So the enemy is going to hit you so hard, so strong that you give up on your own and you continue the work without the enemy. A lot of times the enemy is well done with the work and we perpetuate it because we have gotten so beat up. Generational curses only last because the enemy has done such a good job with messing up your mind that you continue the process with very little prompting. Your enemy is not who you think it is. So y'all have fun with this. Y'all have fun with this one tonight. So as you are going through this evening, be honest and ask God to just show you all of your enemies. Don't be scared because heaven is not going to put it on the social medias. Heaven is not going to post it on Facebook. This is just between you and heaven. Do it in the secret places. And when heaven reveals it in the secret places, heaven wants to heal you in the secret places. Heaven gets no joy from embarrassing you. Heaven gets no joy from airing your dirt out in public. That's no joy for heaven. Heaven gets the joy when you do the work in the secret places and heaven chooses when to reward you. And it can be at some of the strangest times. So be gentle on yourself when it starts to reveal that you are the enemy. And plead insanity. Lord, I didn't know. I didn't know I was my biggest enemy, but I plead insanity because I didn't know, and I'm gonna move on. Let yourself off the hook and know that now this is your opportunity to rise higher. All right, everybody. So we are now at 8:40, 8:39, 8:38, 8:39. So because we had technical difficulties last night, we will do day 25 tomorrow night so that we can, maintain the integrity of the videos and all of that. So I will be on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So if you are available, you can feel free to join me then, and we will continue on with this work. If not, have a wonderful weekend. And next week will be our very last week because we will be approaching the 30-day mark. So if you can't meet me tomorrow night, enjoy your weekend, and I will see y'all on Monday. Have a good one and love you all. And thank y'all so much for checking on me. Thank you for this is I told Mike, I said, those little crime shows and stuff. If anything ever happens to Alicia Johnson, I know that y'all gonna make sure I get found. I know that. I ain't even worried about it. I know I will be found. All right. Y'all have a good one. And I love you all. See y'all tomorrow.